where Brigadier Mokoena would have received this. Did he receive it from you?
Definitely not from me. I don't know where he got it from.
Okay. And if he didn't receive it from you, it must mean he sourced it himself from somewhere else. If he didn't get it from you, because this instruction comes from you.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I did not give him the BMW.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
He also didn't send it to me, if I may just add, the BM part, but he sent me the oldie.
Yes. I asked the question because he's talking to you and then he shares down to his people and he sends a picture and the details of the vehicle down to his people. And the question is, where would he have taken them from? Am I wrong in my assumption that he would have gotten this car details from you? Is that incorrect to put?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay,
I didn't have that.
Thank you.
Just a matter of detail, you'll forgive me if you've already touched on it in your testimony, General. In paragraph 4, you say, I was approached by the then national head of the Hawks, Lieutenant General Godfrey Libya, who inquired from me whether I was aware of a Hawks operation underway at a house in Sandton. He informed me that the information he had received is that the members of the Hawks were conducting an operation at a specific house in Sandton, and it goes on. Did General Libya tell you how or by what means he had received this information?
Yes, he did, Commissioner. He said he got a call.
A call.
He did mention that.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
And I think I did ask you earlier as to whether he told you who he had received the information from. Let's not repeat that.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe lastly from me, General, you've given us a list in one of the annexures, a list of what you say are cases or incidents of where people have impersonated the Hawks, have claimed to be from the Hawks. And some of them there's been prosecutions, others you have said they were found unfounded. It says unfounded. You've told us what the status is. And some of them there's been prosecutions. Now, is any one of the 30 a case where a member of the public just called and said, there are people here who say they're members of the DPCI, and then you've sent your people?
Didn't have it that way, but how we had it, Commissioner, was a person would inform us that certain people approach me and they want me to pay, and we are going to meet them. I've agreed that I will meet them tomorrow. Then we send our people to intercept them. Yes.
It's really been planned operations.
Yes.
You received information and you planned operations.
He gives us
Yes.
that by the time he contacts us, usually they've already interacted, first interaction with these people. And then we then facilitate the payment and the receiving of the money for us to arrest them.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mbotho.
Thank you, Commissioners. General, then if we can deal with the conclusion of your statement, most of which you have already dealt with in your engagement with the Commissioners. I think the first was regarding the instruction, and you engaged the Chair on that, the difference between legitimate SAPS operation and confirming that they are bogus police or not. And then if you could perhaps deal with the remaining issues, in particular the 19.4, which is the aspect that Brigadier Mokoena testified about the disciplinary offense.
Yes. I think I've also mentioned this, Commissioners, when I said it is not a misconduct if the member who's responding brings in backup for himself. That's what I was meaning there.
And then at 19.2, you deal with What you say in the last sentence is that if either has been established, the team must leave immediately. And that is the scenario where you say if the task is to verify that they are real police officers, then once the team has established that, they must leave immediately.
Yes, yes, but this is where I say it is the members that actually responded seem to have understood the mission better than Mokoena, who was conveying it to them, because they seem to have been going there with an intention to verify if those were legitimate police officers. That's how I understood it. Maybe I could be wrong there. But I understood that Mokoena was the one missing it. But as the chair corrected me too, maybe it is just the slip of a tongue, I don't know. But the actual people that responded seem to have responded to the real question that we wanted them to respond to.
And then on page 8, paragraph 20, if you can address your response regarding the suggestion that there was an attempt to interfere in the arrest operation of Mr. KT Molefe by the Hawks.
Yes, I raised that point because, at least starting from me, that I can testify about, I had no idea whose house that was, me who's sending them. And I assume also the colleagues that I gave the address to, because they were responding to the address that I forwarded to them, that they would not have known until they arrived there. If they had the knowledge of who KT Molefe is, they would not have known when they were going there, because when we give it to them, when I give it to them, there is no name that goes with it. I didn't know who's the owner of the house was. I'm assuming also that even if they knew who Molefe was, I don't think they would have known by looking at the address that this address will belong to Molefe. So at least from the colleagues that responded, on the basis of the address that was given, I do not foresee that they would have anticipated who the owner of the house was, because it didn't come with the information that would educate them to that effect. So I believe that the people that, when they didn't know whose addresses were, in as much as I will send them, they didn't know whose address that was. Thank you.
And so based on that, you say that that wasn't an attempt to interfere for the benefit of Mr. Molefe?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
General, on this address issue, is this not information that is easily available to the SEPs? If you had wanted to find out whose address this is, in the same way that you want to find out whose vehicle is this, you would have been able to look it up.
If we were in the office, we could have. But at a party with no laptops or any access to information, it would have been very difficult to find. I would be able to tell you who owns the address.
Well, we know that even at a party, Brigadier Mgwena was able to check vehicles. Who Mtetwa is, the vehicle belongs to who. He was able to check that. Mgwena or Kruger, one of the two. And they did that on the phone. And I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the address would be verifiable, would be easy to verify as well. I mean, there is a whole data bank of information about public information about whose addresses.
We do not have access to that one on cell phones. On the cell phones, they do have an app that links with Inetis, which is a vehicle system.
But it's not impossible to check.
It's
whose house
not
it is, that
impossible to
address.
check, I would guess, but they do not have a system that we have provided them to do that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. That's the evidence of this witness.
General, one last question. There's the one issue of concern, which is an inquiry number. Now, you have described in your paragraph 19.3 in your statement what in fact you say Kruger did when he got to the scene. You say, verifying the operation is legitimate would mean the team would have to go beyond just confirming that the people are police officers. It would mean that the team must verify if they executed the operation, whether the officers executing the operation are authorized to do so. This would require confirmation of the type of operation, etc., and confirmation of, for example, the warrant being executed. This seems to be what Captain Kruger did when he arrived on the scene. Now, we know from his evidence as well, Captain Kruger, that he took photographs of the vehicles that were there. We know that he drew out the reports on those vehicles. We know that he submitted his diary entries of that whole operation. And yet there is no inquiry number. Is that regular, that you would have an operation where your members are verifying the legitimacy of an operation? They've taken the name of the head of that operation, Captain Wanda. So you've got all these facts, and yet there is no record in the DPCI by way of an inquiry number that contains all this information. Is that not irregular, and is that not a matter of concern?
Yes, Commissioner. I think you would have seen, Commissioner, that on the message that he was telling me about Northam, he would have illustrated the inquiry number there, because the standard practice is that there is an inquiry. That's standard practice. My expectation on this one is that there would not have been an inquiry on that day, but that when they come on the next day, working day, they would have registered an inquiry so that they know where to file this thing. But that's not the only purpose it serves. It serves also to justify driving a state vehicle. When we drive a state vehicle, there must be some form of a reference number that justify why you drove from point A to B. So that would be the norm. As to, I'm not complaining that when they went there, they didn't have it. What I find troubling is that when they come back, still not, because it is what they would have needed to put in their logbook as the purpose for driving to a specific address. So as a norm, it should have had the reference number. It justifies their driving. It also helps in the filing of anything that relates to this, the information about Wanda, the pictures that you have should have found themselves into the file.
So as matters stand, if anyone were to do an audit of that period, there would be no record of this operation.
Particularly after I've heard, I would have been worried about what they would have written in the vehicle logbook for the trip, because our systems require that each trip you justify with some form of a reference that backs it up.
And then lastly, Chair, you saw the pictures where Captain Kruger shared on the group you saw them now at least as you're testifying, shared on the group the details of the vehicles that were at the scene, the pictures that he took, and then he then shared the pictures but also shared the details of the vehicles there. Did you ever receive any of those pictures and any of the car vehicle details? Were they shared with you?
No, they were not. None of those were shared with me, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Nube.
Very quickly, the allegations made against the Hawks, I want you to understand them clearly and carefully. In paragraph 16 of Captain Wanda's statement, he says, when the members of the Hawks asked for details about the operation, including who we were arresting and the case number, witness A refused to disclose this information and indicated that it was not necessary for them to know these details. Now, do you accept that if this is what the members of the Hawks did, and it's a big if, then that would be interfering with lawful police operations? Because that's not what they were sent there to do.
We did not send them to do that.
Do you accept that that would be interference? Why would they be interested in who is being arrested and what the case number is? Why would they be interested in that?
I don't know why they would want to know that, because that's not what's their mandate. That's not, and even in the evidence that I've had, which is a snippet thereof, they did not seem to think they would have been tasked to do that.
And then lastly, in 19.2 of your statement.
19.2.
Yes, on page 7.
Yes, I'm there.
You say to verify that these are real police officers. I won't read the whole statement because you have it. And then last sentence you say, if either has been established, either, not both, if either has been established, the team must leave immediately. Do you see that?
Yes.
Now, according to Warrant Officer Nkosi, within 5 minutes of him getting there, he had established that these are police officers and this is a legitimate police operation. What troubles me about what happened on the 6th of December 2024 is that the Hawks were there for close to an hour, doing what nobody knows, because within 5 minutes they should have been able to establish that these are the police, they are wearing subs issued bulletproof vests, these are the details of the people. You established that in 5 minutes. Now the other 50 minutes, I don't know what the Hawks were doing there. And that troubles me. Because you can understand why there's an allegation that they were interfering or intimidating the police who were there to effect an arrest or to execute a J50. Because nobody's accounting for the 50 minutes. Nobody's telling us after they got there and they did what you asked them to do, why did they remain for another 15 minutes and what were they doing there?
Thank you, Commissioner. I also do not understand why they took so long. What I would have expected, the meeting between Captain Kruger and Captain Wanda should have settled all concerns, because I would have expected Captain Kruger to produce his appointment certificate, Wanda does the same. They exchange their details for whatever reason. This is an official operation. Everything ends there. In my opinion, there would not even have been a need after that interaction for even taking pictures outside. Because the pictures, I would have expected them before they interact. But after this interaction, the mission is accomplished.
Now, put yourself in the position of the police officers that were executing the takedown operation there. It is now 5:20 on the day in question. You've satisfied the Hawks members that you are legitimate police. and they verified your identity. And then for the next 40 minutes, the hawks are hanging around while you are, executing a lawful police operation. Put yourself in the position of those police officers. What would you expect them to think of the hawks while they are busy executing this operation? And for 40 minutes, the hawks are just hanging around and nobody knows what they are doing there.
It is for that reason that I'm not surprised about the allegation that found itself coming to our way, because I do not understand myself why they were there now. More so because earlier I would have been told that they would have been in a rush to another operation. So I thought they would have gone there with very much pressure on time, if they're still gonna find themselves and not them. So I honestly cannot explain that. Why, after the interaction, after they've sent us the numbers, I don't know what kept them there from that point. I have no idea.
General, can I just follow up on the question, the first question that Commissioner Khumalo asked you? And I follow up because you did not give a yes or no answer. He asked you, he put to you that that when Captain Kruger was with Captain Wanda, there was a request to see the J50. Witness A told them that the operation was legitimate. That was paragraph 16. You remember, Commissioner Khumalo just read to you.
Correct.
When the Hawks asked for details about the operation, including who we were arresting and the case numbers, witness A refused to disclose the information. Now, from the evidence that we've had, by this point, your Hawks members know and are satisfied that this is a legitimate, this is a police operation by this point. The question, as understood, being asked of you is, having established that it's a legitimate operation, to go on and then want to see, to ask about the J50, what is the operation, who are you arresting, the case number, to ask that after your members have established that it's a legitimate operation, that would constitute interference. Any act after they have verified that which you say you expected them to do, to ask that kind of detail would be now to interfere in a legitimate operation, no?
I am not opposed to that view, because who they wanted to arrest there, with or without a warrant, was not our business. That one, I don't think we'll have a dispute on that, because the purpose was to find out, are these Hawks members? Yes, no, police. Anyone spoke about Libya? The answer is no. None of us spoke about Libya. At that point, we're done.
Thank you, General.